Welcome to Doctor's Diary. I wish a very happy Diwali and a prosperous new year to all the viewers of Doctor's Diary. Today's episode is about public health delivery system and private hospitals. It is an age-old debate about problems faced by a common man in a public sector hospital versus high cost of private hospitals. Dr. Vikas Nair is going to talk to our panelist, Dr. Pramod Kale and Dr. Renuka Braden, about this. I welcome all of them. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Doctor's Diary, a platform in which doctors express their views on various aspects of medical practice in India today. About a fortnight back, a news report caught the attention of all of us. Now, what was this news report about? It was about two high-profile politicians of our state, Maharashtra, one of whom got admitted in a plush private tertiary care center for diagnosis and treatment, while the other politician quietly entered a public hospital and got treated, which reignited the age-old debate of whether public hospital is good or whether private hospital is equally good. So to discuss about this various aspects of public versus private hospital, we are very fortunate to have with us two eminent doctors of the city. I welcome Doctors Renuka Bradu and Dr. Pramod Kale. Dr. Renuka Bradu has been the head of the department, ENT department of a public hospital, a municipal hospital, since many years, maybe around 20 years, and she's been working in the same department for around 3 decades now. Besides being a passionate teacher of ENT and medicine, she's also an author of a book known as Atlas of Endoscopic Sinus Surgery, and she has contributed various topics to many books. She is also credited to have the largest series of surgery on JNA, which is juvenile nasal angiofibroma, probably the largest in the world. So, and she's been working in the public sector for a very long time, though she may have dabbled in private practice at the start of her career. So I think she will be the best person to answer all our questions on public hospitals, be it teaching or otherwise. Now, Dr. Pramod Kale was an associate professor in anesthesia at the same place, that is Sion Hospital, which is a municipal hospital. But since the last, I think around 13 years, he's been working as the HOD of a multi-speciality tertiary care hospital in the suburb of Mumbai. And he too was a teacher before. He continues to be a teacher in anesthesia. He was also an examiner in MD anesthesia. And he represents the private face of our discussion today, the private sector. So welcome both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To start off, the NSO, which conducts many surveys across the country regarding health, found that especially in metropolitan cities, around 3 out of 4 patients prefer to go to a private setup, a private tertiary care hospital or any private setup, in spite of knowing that the cost there is almost 4 to 6 times of what they would spend in a government hospital. So there must be some reason for this, in spite of having to spend so much. So let me start with Dr. Kale. What, according to you, Dr. Kale, are the reasons why the people would still want to go to a private hospital in spite of knowing that they would have to spend a lot, sometimes out of their pockets? So what do you think makes private sector so much attractive to patients across?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Vikas. See, the question you had asked me is why people prefer to go to private hospitals rather than public hospitals. What I personally think is people want good treatment in short time. That is what their expectation is. And for that, they are willing to spend money. Now, according to me, 20 years back, people didn't have that much money. But because of maybe medical insurance they are having, and their financial capacity has been increased, they want something in addition. That is, they want good treatment, no doubt. They want good consultation from the senior consultants. So they are ready to spend. Now they think that they can get this thing in private hospitals. As private hospitals are well equipped, senior consultants are available immediately, and they can take good treatment over there if they spend some money. In addition, they want cleanliness, they want good staff to work, they want number of nurses, they want good infrastructure, good ambience. All those things also they look for, and that is why they prefer to go to private hospital, uh, even if they want have to spend some money for that.
So the another thing which I feel is that they would also want to or want to look at a person or a consultant whom they know. So that choice I think is available in private places,
In
private
private,
sector
yes,
setups, and maybe the waiting period is a little less, as you said,
correct.
and the area where they can sit, they feel that everything will be done in a single visit is what I feel. Private may be
Yes,
okay, or it may be covering up large areas in metropolitan areas, but
yes,
come any disaster, come any pandemic, it is the government hospital or the municipal hospital which stands up and takes up this challenge of providing healthcare to the masses. So, what, according
absolutely.
to you, Dr. Renika, makes public healthcare an equally good option for treatment across all the sectors of our country?
So, public and private healthcare are two sides of the coin.
Right.
Both are trying to do the best that they can for their patients. And the reason why I feel, let me tell you, uh, both my sons needed, hospital treatment when they were younger. And my husband's also in private practice, and between us, we knew most of the people in private hospitals. But we both chose to treat them in a public hospital, in Sion Hospital. So I am when I say that people should take public hospital, I am talking from my personal experience
So
as
that
well.
goes to show a lot of the faith in you have in the public
Yes,
healthcare system.
yes. Now, the reason I have this faith is because, firstly, because there's a large load of patients. The load of patients is in terms of lakhs. So through the year, so the kind of experience that these doctors have in public hospitals, the amount of skill they have developed over years because of treating so many cases, and also because especially in tertiary referral hospitals in Mumbai city, like the one I'm working in, there are a lot of very difficult cases sent by their own colleagues to be treated over here because they feel that they would be best treated there. So one is that the skill of the doctors is very good. Second is because these people are also teachers. So for example, I have a dual role. One is that of head of department, and the other is as professor, in which I'm training new students, training surgeons to, so we're training the next generation of doctors. So it becomes very important that as doctors in public hospitals, we have to be up to date with the very latest treatments available and to incorporate them in our regular treatment, because we are training these doctors. And also I feel that a lot of now, as the trend is there, a lot of public hospitals are now forerunners in training their colleagues also. So there are workshops being held, there are surgical workshops being held, conferences being held by these public hospitals, which are the front runner in training other doctors. So I think in terms of medical care per se, I think
So that
public
makes
hospitals
it an
have
attractive option.
excellent medical care. Of course, as Dr. Kare said, that in terms of the niceties, like the ambience and the short waiting period, all this is not available in public hospitals simply because of the real large numbers of patients being treated there.
Exactly.
So in that way, it is let's say it's the dal roti of medical care. That is the mainstay of our country's healthcare is the public hospitals.
Anything else, Dr. Renuka, which you feel makes patients hesitant to enter a public hospital?
Yeah, so there are actually 2-3 reasons. one reason is that most important is, generally, if you take any large corporate hospital, the number of patients that, maybe they would see in a year, just to give a rough ballpark idea, that the number of patients they would see in a year would be approximately the number of patients Sion Hospital would see in about a week, 10 days. So
Oh,
you can see that
that's a large, huge difference.
yeah,
Yes,
it's a huge
huge
difference. And therefore, what happens is, because there are such crowds, there are very long lines. You can imagine an ill person having to stand in very long lines. Also, when he goes to see the doctor, because the doctor has to see, so many patients. So in my OPD on a daily basis, we see 250 patients. So you can imagine that the amount of time the doctor can give to the patient for general conversation is not there. But he does have the time to diagnose, advise, investigate, treatment. So the treatment gets done very well. But
Which
the
is the
kind
most
of
important thing, which sometimes the
yeah,
patient doesn't, or the relative doesn't realize.
not realize. They don't
Yes,
realize that it's actually in that, instead of spending 15 minutes talking about general things and treating the patient, they use the 5 minutes only to treat the patient. So therefore, this is one reason why, because of the long waiting lines. Second thing is that, because public hospitals generally have almost free treatment, it is a general tendency of people to think that free treatment means it is substandard treatment.
but
You
that
know,
is also an advantage. Public hospitals treat each and every patient, whether the patient is poor, rich, or
yes,
anyone.
yes.
So with the
When
private doesn't. So
I just want to mention here that I was working for a certain period of time in UK, and I thought when I come back I'll be unhappy, but I came back with renewed respect, because India is one country where a person can walk off the street and see a specialist on the same day itself,
exactly,
so,
yeah.
without
So
having any money in his pocket, which is not
that's
the
a huge
case.
advantage of being in India.
Yeah, so therefore that is there. And so second is this, that when people get something free, they don't value it, and therefore that is one aspect. And the third thing which I would like to say is that the media has played a very negative role, and it has done a great disservice by creating a lot of negative feelings and suspicion in the minds of the public about public hospitals. So when you're treating, say, 15 lakh patients in a year, there are bound to be some mistakes, bound to be some people who fall through the net. So if you blow it all out of proportion, instead of concentrating, not on concentrating, but giving an equal coverage for all the good things that are being done, if that is not done and only negative is put by the media, then naturally people hesitate and they are suspicious about the kind of treatment they would get in. In fact, I very often find that patients, even when I get middle or upper middle class persons referred as tertiary, for specifically our referrals, they're very surprised by the kind of treatment they get. They do not expect it. So that is the problem.
So if more patients need to go to a public hospital, and the same patient-doctor relationship and the trust needs to come back, the media should also do some correction. Is that right, Dr.
Absolutely.
Renuka? Yeah, so
Absolutely.
very, very good points put forward by you. Dr. Kare, do you
Yeah.
ever feel that the public sector, private sector also needs to step up and do something more, which is not seen these days?
I think like in public hospitals, private sectors, those who are major hospitals or bigger hospitals, bigger corporate hospitals, they can also train the students. That is one thing they can definitely do. And I think most of the corporate hospitals are right now doing that with, they are having DNB recognitions. They are having many fellowships of the universities, like our own hospital has. And they have also started working for training the newer generation. When the patient goes to private hospital, patient expectations are much more, because he is spending money on that. If patients expectations are going higher and higher and higher, then cost is also going to go higher and higher and higher. So maybe private hospitals have to work on that, to how can they bring the cost down. I want to add what Renuka had said. Okay, large number of patients, there is a large crowd. When I want to go to public hospital, there I cannot select my doctor. If I want to go to a particular doctor, particular consultant, particular senior consultant, I can't select I have to go to whosoever is available over there. Secondly, in public hospitals, many times, if suppose for month or two, I am going to a particular doctor, particular senior consultant, and suddenly one fine day I find that, okay, that particular doctor is transferred to somewhere else. Now where do I go?
So there
So
is a
these
little
are again the problems of public hospitals, which are not there in private hospitals.
around
Yes.
2 or 3 decades back when we were residents, the words of the HOD was considered to be the final in on any subject. Now, has the private sector hospitals reached that level?
See, 20 years back, if you compare, yes, the public hospitals, rather I will say teaching hospitals, the hospitals attached to the medical colleges, were the prime service giving, health service giving in the society. So major class, even a rich class of the society used to go to those teaching hospitals because there they used to have the senior most consultants, most experienced teachers,
Because
most experienced doctors were available in those teaching hospitals.
Okay.
Now, after 20, 30 years, now that is not the case. See, expertise is definitely
Yes.
available in
Yes,
private
yes, yes.
also.
Yeah,
because
let Dr. Kale finish and then I'll come to you, Renuka.
Again 20 years back, whatever new treatment, whatever new equipments, whatever new things used to come to the public hospitals or teaching hospitals first, and then they used to come in the private. Today, that is not the case. Today, rather, private hospitals are much more equipped infrastructure wise, staff wise, and the advancement wise. So that is why maybe private hospitals are preferred by the public.
Yes, Dr. Renuka. Okay.
see, I have worked in both private and public hospitals, and I know that for me to get equipment, the latest state of the art equipment in a public hospital is far easier than it is to get into private hospital. And the reason for that is that in private hospitals they are asking constantly for ROI, and therefore it is, in fact, it is difficult to get equipment in private hospitals because they are constantly worried about the economics of it. Rightly so. Whereas in public hospitals, that question does not come up again because in terms of the amount of workload, naturally that equipment is going to be used very well. So in fact, my department in my own hospital is far better equipped than the corporate hospital I go to. So firstly, I don't agree with this, that equipment is not available.
Dr. Kale, let her finish. Let her complete, Dr. Kale, let her
So I
complete.
don't think that this thing that infrastructure is not available, equipment is not available, is not true. And second thing is what Dr. Kare said, that at that time there were senior doctors. There are senior doctors even today. There is a large amount of middle class still coming, and not still coming by choice. And they come for the
Yes.
names of the doctors who are attached to these public hospitals. So it is not actually true that patients come only because they have no other choice. There are patients coming because they have been specifically told.
Dr. Kale.
Okay, now I completely agree with Renuka, whatever she said about the equipments, and her department is definitely a state of art department. Or there, I am not talking about a particular hospital in Mumbai or a metropolis cities. I am not talking about a particular department in Sion Hospital or KM Hospital or this thing. I am talking in general of the public hospitals. And that
Unfortunately,
is why
Dr.
I
Kale,
said yes.
Dr. Kale.
Yes, maybe.
Unfortunately, Dr. Renuka has only worked at Sion Hospital all these years, and I think
No, but
That is why. That is why I am saying, see, if you go to other public hospitals,
she can speak only about Sion, but
No, Dr. Nayan, let me say, I can talk about other public hospitals also because I have visited them as examiner, I have visited them as MCI inspector.
Okay.
I have had to have great details into what kind of
so
OTs they have.
what I was saying stands true over there when we talk in general of the public hospitals.
No, let me finish. When I talk about my department, I'm only
one
giving
person,
you as
please.
a personal example, but there are multiple departments like that.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
just giving you one example, but there are like that multiple departments in the hospital which are very well equipped and very well managed. So I
Okay,
don't
point taken there. Point taken there.
I think my department is now at present a rule. Now, as you say that there are smaller places, smaller towns where there are public hospitals which are not that well equipped.
Okay,
But the
so
fact remains that the same thing is applicable to private
private
hospitals
hospitals
also.
also, yeah.
Second thing I wanted to say, Renuka said about senior availability of senior doctors. In those days, what I was talking about, senior doctors, senior consultants were available only in public hospitals rather. They were not available in private. And that is why in those eras,
So
people,
nowadays,
even rich people also used to go to public hospitals.
So now, but having spoken about that, let me get to the next point, Dr. Renuka. See, the USP of going to a public hospital was the availability of senior consultants all throughout the day for the greater part of the day, say from 9 to 5. Now, the apprehension amongst patients or the relatives is, since a little bit of private practice is now allowed, will the same degree of care or standard of care be available at public hospitals? Is one of the apprehensions.
So, yeah, so let me say a few things. In fact, by allowing private practice, they have regularized it. See, there, I will give you one example. I had one patient from Kerala who came and he asked the nurse, when do I have to go and meet the doctor in his private so that they will operate me in a public hospital?
Okay.
So the nurse told him, don't even discuss this with that with the doctor because it is not done. So what I'm saying is there were people who were doing private practice without the knowledge and without proper regulation. They were coming and going at all orders. Now that they have made private practice legally available, people are actually more circumspect. They feel okay, after 4 o'clock, if I'm free to do my private practice, at least between 9 and 4, I can devote my time. So one thing is it has become more regular. People are not running away at all odd hours, not hiding their private practice. They're actually in a more dignified way carrying out their private practice after 4 o'clock. That is one thing. Second thing is that because they've been allowed private practice, the turnover of doctors in public hospitals has reduced. These posts are now posts, they were always posts of prestige, but now there are also posts where people with ambitions can continue to work there without having to give it up. So therefore,
So
now
that's a
you
good option provided by the public hospitals.
yeah,
I
we
think
are
that's a
able
good
to
option.
retain more talent. Yeah, we are able to retain more talent, more doctors who are dynamic because they are allowed an outlet of private practice as well. Third thing is that because we have to train surgeons and medical specialists as students. If you are working also in a private setup, you get a little more idea about reality of the world outside the medical college, outside the public hospital. So you can help train your students better.
Students accordingly.
Yeah, so you are able to give them a more realistic view of how practice should be done, how you should talk to the patient. All these things are better if you have had some in perspective of the outside world. And
Okay.
lastly, this thing about whether a person will work sincerely or not is not dependent on whether he does private practice or not. It is dependent on that person's own integrity and character. And that remains unchanged whether you're doing only private practice, only public hospital, or you're doing a combination of both.
I think both of you have presented your point of viewpoints very well. So both the private sector and the public sector have a role, at least in a country like India, to manage healthcare. So let us go forward and talk about doctors who work in this private sector and public sector hospitals. So Dr. Renuka, a lot of research, academics, and other things, number of surgeries, number of patients are there in public sector hospitals. Do you think undergraduate or a postgraduate need to be more in public sector hospitals, say for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years after his graduation or post-graduation, so that he becomes a little more polished in his skills, a little more knowledgeable about the medical part of the whole situation?
So I think, especially, it is especially true of surgical branches. It is true for all branches, but more especially for surgical branches because you have to learn surgical skills. And 3 years of graduation, post-graduation is too short a period of time to even actually become skilled at the routine surgery. Forget advanced surgeries, expert surgeries, but even in routine surgeries, to get a very good expertise in your hands to do routine surgeries, 3 years is too short a period. So therefore, definitely, post the exams, spending a few years in these public hospitals, seeing more large numbers of patients will definitely help and definitely make a difference. I'd also like to state that nowadays I'm seeing a trend, and which is not very recent. It's almost 10 years that people who are passing their post graduation are actually looking to take up lecturers posts in these hospitals in preference to going into private practice, because they've realized that that to develop an identity, to develop an identity as an expert in a particular field or in a particular branch of their specialty is much more easier if you're attached to a public hospital with lots of infrastructure and with lots of support, other support, ancillary support which is required. And especially now that private practice is allowed, a lot of people are choosing to take up a lecturer's post or an assistant professor's post in a public hospital in the hope that later on they will be also allowed private practice. But in the meantime, they will have been able to carve a name for themselves in their specialty because of the kind of expertise they are developing over this period of time.
What about professional independence? And what about any interference from the administration?
So I think it depends from hospital to hospital. First of all, in terms of clinical independence, I think clinical independence is the best in public hospitals because the patient is not paying the doctor. There is no cash transaction between the doctor and the patient. So the doctor is completely free to give him, whatever state of the art of treatment is possible without having to think about the economics of whether the patient can afford it or not. Because MSW departments in these public hospitals are very strong. And so it never happens that we have to compromise on the quality of care because of lack of money. That doesn't happen in most of public hospitals. It is possible to give that care, only it takes time because money has to be collected through donations before the treatment can be done. So so that is one thing. As far as administrative independence is concerned, it depends on which type of thing. There are certain public hospitals which are very strongly under the control of government control because of transfers and all that. So therefore, there of course I think there is a certain amount of interference. But in certain public hospitals like the municipal corporation hospitals in Bombay, there is no interference. You are able to work freely, comfortably without having a problem. Those hospitals where transfers are being carried out by the government.
Except for that fear of transfer, everything seems to be rosy for the postgraduate student. Dr. Kale, if the same question is asked to you about interference and things like that.
Before that, I want to say, the training part, most of the private hospitals, corporate hospitals have now started appointing as clinical assistants or fellows, depending on their interest in particular specialty or particular skill they want to develop accordingly to the fellowships of the university or these things. And even private hospitals are also training these people so they can spend time in private hospitals also and they can polish their skills over there also.
You were talking about the interference.
Yeah, interference. There is no question of interference in private hospitals. I don't think any administrator or any owner of the private hospital or corporate hospitals will interfere in your treatment as far as possible. Yes, but as far as the cost of the treatment is concerned, economics goes,
recent
then
news
maybe
report,
there are certain limitations.
In fact, a recent news report stated about revenues and targets and other things. Okay.
Let me complete,
yes,
and
yes,
then
please.
You ask me the question.
Okay.
Yeah. So there may be some limitations on the consultant as far as the economics is concerned. Maybe patient is not that affording or cost of the treatment is going high. Then maybe he has to change his line of treatment according to the patient's condition, economic condition, which is not there in public hospital. Private hospitals may have to change according to the economics.
I was asking about that news report recently, which we saw in newspapers about corporates and targets and revenues, etc. What is your take on it, Dr. Kale?
Yes, definitely. See, private hospitals, corporate hospitals are definitely, we all know, they are profit-making hospitals. So their bound economics is going to play in those hospitals. So there will be definitely certain pressure on doctors, on working staff over there to complete the target, or maybe attract some more number of patients, do some more number of procedures, or particular number of procedures is given to the particular consultant. That much you must do in a month. That is what we call it as a target is given. Maybe this might be happening, but which is not correct, and that is not correct for the good for the patients also.
Dr. Kale, I think all these corporate hospitals are finally corporate, so the bottom line for them is revenues and profit. So maybe that is not right, but it is also equally true that it is not necessary that a doctor who is not comfortable to work in such a corporate hospital need not join the corporate hospital. And
Either he
but-
need not join, or corporate hospital will remove him.
yes,
It is as simple as that.
but being part of the healthcare system, they also equally take part in the healthcare system. I think we should take the good along with not so good aspect of this private corporate hospitals.
Yes, there are always some advantages and disadvantages.
Correct. So, going to the next point, Dr. Renuka, you said that public hospitals are a very good place for teaching undergraduates, postgraduates, residents, etc. But another apprehension maybe amongst these younger doctors are that since they are the base of the pyramid and they are the first point of contact between a patient, their relative, and the healthcare system, they are more prone to being beaten up or being manhandled or to violence. So do you think that is a correct assessment?
Yeah, I'd like to say here that it is not an incorrect assessment. The issue is this, that first of all, society as we knew it, say 20 years ago or 25 years ago, today's society is far more violent and far more aggressive than it was 25 years ago. That is for a fact that people have changed like that. Second thing is that sometimes due to work pressure, because of the number of patients that they have to see, young doctors who are not yet completely experienced in handling patients may make some statement or something which is misunderstood or miscommunicated to the patient's relatives. And also the patient's relatives see them as young doctors. So they feel that this doctor doesn't know his work. Though they may be qualified surgeons and specialists and doing very good work, but because of that young age, one, they may not be able to communicate with the patient properly, or the patient may not be willing to listen to him because he has no gray hair. That doctor doesn't have any gray hair. But the most important reason why this problem occurs, it's not poor communication. It is the entire experience that the patient has before he reaches the doctor.
So which is outside the control of the young resident doctor.
Yes, if he's supposed to sit standing in a long line, then
so those are all outside his control.
Registration clerk tells him you're standing in the wrong line, go stand in another line. Then when he goes to the casualty officer, he has to wait over there. Then some ward boy yells at him, some nurse refuses
so basically that unpleasant experience over which the resident has got no control.
So by the time he comes to the doctor, he is already so upset and angry that it needs very little for him to, and he sees the doctor as responsible for everything, and he then takes out his anger on the doctor.
Dr. Kale, do you think private hospitals are immune to such violence against residents or junior doctors? Or
private hospitals are also not immune to all this violence and this thing. This can happen in private hospitals also. Rather, it happens more in private hospitals when patient's expectation is much higher, because patient is paying there for everything, and then if certain things go wrong or something like that, then immediately they burst out on private hospitals. Most of the private hospitals have been burnt. We know that. So I don't think the violence is the answer for anything. Definitely a proper communication, and the patient's expectations are going very high. So maybe patient is coming with very prejudiced mind in public hospital. Like,
as far as
maybe public hospitals are having only Shikau doctors, and only Shikau doctors are treating the patient. No senior doctor is coming. That is what the prejudiced mind patient comes with, and then that anger bursts out on the junior doctors.
Okay, so I think both of you have wonderfully covered all the points. Before we call it a day, I would like to ask you both one question. India is fast approaching or going towards the 5 trillion economy. But unfortunately, we spend only around 1 to 1.5% of our GDP on healthcare, which shows in many of our indices, the healthcare indices like maternal mortality rate, child mortality rate, where we are much lower than our neighboring countries like Sri Lanka, Maldives, Vietnam, etc. What, according to you, is the way forward, Dr. Renuka, to bring up this?
Yeah, so I definitely think that healthcare should have a much larger budget than it has at present.
Yes.
Because if you will not take care of the health of your young generation, you are creating a future which is not healthy and not strong for your country. So definitely more money. And also this misconception that actually to improve healthcare system, you need more doctors is not true. You need to strengthen the pyramid at the base first. So besides having doctors, you have to have good trained nurses, ward boys, OT assistants, ambulance drivers, even simple basic things like ambulance drivers should know how to give CPCR, how they should be able to transfer the patient without causing damage. All these things at the very basic. Midwives, these are the people who need to be trained and made much more solid base on.
You would like to
Yes.
add anything more, Dr. Kale, to what Dr.
No,
Renuka has
all
said?
these basic things also should be taken care of, and that is what I said. In healthcare in toto, not only number of doctors or number of nurses or number of hospitals should be increased, but from the base it should be developed, and for that definitely government has to spend much more than what government is spending right now.
Do you think the government private partnership would go a long way in answering this query?
Definitely,
Of course.
yes.
Actually, we have experience of public-private partnership, and so definitely public-private partnership is good because you can get the best advantage of both together.
Fortunately, the government seems to have realized this particular aspect, and they have now tried to modify, particularly regarding the requirement of medical colleges, the amount of space required to start a medical college, number of teachers per student have now been teacher-student ratio has now been increased, more number of students per teacher, and a little more digital classrooms, etc. I think that is the right way going forward. I think we'll stop here, and I must thank both of you for for taking out time and presenting your views and ideas, and which gave rise to such a wonderful discussion. I hope we will meet more in the future, where both of you can enlighten us with more ideas on some different topics. Thank you once again, Dr. Renuka Bradu, Dr. Pramod Kale. See
Thank
you in
you very
another
much.
episode.
Thank you, Vikas.
Thank you.